This is a time capsule that has been sealed for 50 years. Inside are drawings of the future, imagined by the first batch of students. As the time capsule is opened, the principal begins to randomly distribute the letters inside to the students. One by one, the letters are opened. Some find drawings of rockets, while others reveal visions of futuristic technology. But when Keller opens his, he discovers a sheet of paper covered in dense numbers. The boy is puzzled, unable to comprehend what it means. He decides to take it home and show it to his father, John. John, an astronomy professor who has always been highly attuned to numbers, decides to help his son solve the mystery. He randomly writes a sequence of numbers from the paper on a whiteboard, 9110129996. But what could it mean? John tries splitting the numbers into different patterns, but nothing works. After several attempts, a sequence resembling a date finally emerges, September 11. Curious, John searches the date online and is shocked to discover that it matches the infamous 9/11 terrorist attacks in 2001. Even more unsettling is the number 2996, which corresponds exactly to the number of victims. This letter had been sealed in 1959, over 50 years ago. Was this merely a coincidence? Or could the person who wrote it truly predict the future? Intrigued, John writes all the numbers from the paper on the whiteboard and begins checking them one by one on his computer. To his astonishment, he finds that major disasters from recent decades all align perfectly with the numbers on the paper, whether it's the date or the number of casualties. In other words, the person who wrote the letter had successfully predicted the timing of future disasters. However, there are still some numbers whose meanings John cannot decipher. Yet the whole situation remains deeply unsettling. The next day, John goes to his studio and shares his discovery with his colleagues. He raises a crucial issue: several dates on the paper cannot be verified because they haven't occurred yet. Based on the most recent date listed, a disaster is predicted to happen in 2 days, resulting in 81 deaths. Although the previous numbers matched past disasters perfectly, John isn't certain whether a disaster will truly occur in 2 days. Still, to be cautious, he asks his colleagues to help analyze the data and identify the specific location so they can take preventive measures. But his colleagues don't believe him. They think John is mentally unstable and dismiss his claims as meaningless, urging him to go home and rest. Seeing their lack of faith, John realizes it will be difficult to convince them with just his speculations. He returns home and decides to monitor the news for updates. The date written on the paper arrives, but after waiting all day, there are no reports of major accidents on TV. Coincidentally, it's raining that day. As John prepares to pick up his son from school, he gets stuck in traffic. While waiting, he calls his colleague to apologize for his earlier behavior, admitting that he might have overthought everything. At that moment, he notices something unusual: the latitude and longitude coordinates on his car's navigation system. Suddenly, John remembers the numbers on the paper that he couldn't figure out. He quickly takes out the paper and compares them carefully. Sure enough, those extra numbers are the coordinates of a specific landmark. Unfortunately, the predicted location for today's disaster is nearby. Just then, John notices severe traffic congestion ahead. Could an accident have already occurred? He rushes forward to ask a police officer about the situation. But as soon as John starts speaking, the officer's face turns pale, and he abruptly runs away.